Welcome back to the Transform Your Mind to Transform Your Life radio hour and podcast. I'm your host, Life Coach Myrna Young, and today I am so excited for a multitude of reasons, but I'll tell you about them later. But I am speaking to the infamous Dr. Anthony Ivan Joseph. Dr. Joseph is a best-selling author of the book, You Got This, Mastering the Skill of Self-Confidence. And how he became famous is from his TEDx talk on self-confidence that, as of today, has 19 million views. So if there's anyone that's qualified to talk about self-confidence, that's him. He's also Guyanese, and so am I. And we're almost family, just turning a little things here, but we're almost family. So I am actually so excited for this conversation. Welcome, Dr. Ivan. That's what I'm going to call you from now on.
Thank you. Please call me Ivan. When you introduced me by Anthony Ivan, I knew that you must be connected in somehow, because the only people that call me Anthony are my Guyanese roots. And you know how
Really?
every Guyanese person has a nickname, so mine
Right.
is Joe.
Right.
So
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm going to call you Dr. Ivan, though, because I'm going to give you the respect you deserve. All right. So, well, listen, welcome. We're going to have a fabulous conversation. All right. Let me give you some more information about Dr. Ivan Joseph. He was born in Guyana, South America, my bird country. He immigrated to Toronto, Canada at the age of 5. I also immigrated to Toronto, Canada at the age of 17. So we had a similar kind of journey. As he became a young man of color, he often felt disenfranchised and disconnected. But he excelled in sports and attended a small university in Iowa on an athletic scholarship, then achieved his master's degree and PhD in psychology. This led him to become a professor and being awarded Coach of the Year. For 10 years, he was the director of athletics for Ryerson University in Toronto and spearheaded the $100 million renovation of the iconic Maple Leaf Gardens. Dr. Ivan is now the Vice Provost of Student Affairs at Dalhousie University, one of Canada's most distinguished and competitive institutions. Like I mentioned earlier, his TEDx talk, The Skill of Self-Confidence, has over 19 million views. And, he's here to talk about his new book, You've Got This, Mastering the Skill of Self-Confidence, which is available today. And he will tell you all about that a little later in the show. All right, now, let me tell you how this interview came about. And not even Dr. Ivan knows this part. Okay, so about 4 years ago, I wanted to become a speaker. And I was talking to my uncle, who is married to Dr. Ivan's aunt. And he said to me, you should get a hold of Ivan. He is a very successful speaker, and maybe he could become your mentor. Now, I don't think that I reached out to him because I don't remember. But what I did do is I researched him and connected with him on LinkedIn. And we've been connected for the last 4 years or so on LinkedIn. Then scrolling through my news feed about a month ago, I saw him talk about his book. And I said to myself, you know what? That is such an excellent conversation, excellent topic. Let me invite him to come on the show. And I just sent a request and invited him. And he didn't know who I was until we started the show off.
I did not.
He did not know who I was, but he graciously accepted. And of course, it is so beautiful. So, but not only is he, big TED Talks, and an author and a speaker and a coach and a professor. But I also saw him, quite by accident as well. I mean, somebody is obviously inspiring me in these inspired actions. But I was going through my Instagram this week, and I saw him on the Lewis Howes School of Greatness podcast, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, he's going all the way to the top.
Listen, we're here. We're all in this together. So
yeah, and Lewis Hauser is one of the podcasts that I listen to because I aspire to become as famous as he is. So I'm glad that we're at least walking in the same company. All right, so I'm doing a lot of the talking. So one of my first questions I have here, Dr. Ivan, is you talked about in your bio about your journey from becoming an immigrant boy and being a man of color, and then transcending that to almost be right at the top, a doctor, a performance coach, a TEDx speaker, an author. Can you tell us how you bridged that gap and how you went from there to there?
Yeah. Well, I think, like many immigrants that come to North America, whether that be your audience that's American or my audience that's Canadian, we all choose to leave our countries of birth for hopefully a better future. And there's something that's grounded in all of us that chose our country of what we'll call citizenship. And that is a desire to achieve more. We were not comfortable, or we were not content with what we had. And what drives us is not that lack of fulfillment, but the desire to be better and to pay that forward to our families and our generations. And so one of the things that, our parents, those of us who are immigrants and grew up as kids, we are drilled with that constant medical or that constant mantra, twice as good, be better than, it's not good enough. And, my poor kids who were born in the States would probably say, well, it hasn't stopped with you, Dad, right? It's something that passes through it. So when you do that, you're driven to excel. But in parents driving you to always be better, to be good, to be outshined, you bring home the B plus and it's why isn't it an A? You bring home the A and it's why is it not an A plus? You finish second in the race and why is it not first? Yeah. But I think every person, especially from the Caribbean diaspora at least, could really relate to that conversation. And usually it comes from the mothers, because the mothers are the glue of the family. They're the ones that are the drivers of the family. And so when you have that mantra, you also, I'll say when it's working really well, you achieve and you become excellent. If you take it on and you own it too much, it could be debilitating. You could end up internalizing that message where you're never quite good enough, you're never there, you're never whatever it might be. So you couple that with the fact that you're already an underrepresented population. You're already where people see you as less than or other than or marginalized. And folks are quick to look past you for opportunities and chances or great jobs will pass you by. When you couple that with it and you're pushed to the corners or to the edges of society, you start to not achieve what you may have achieved, whether that's from your own internal belief, from your mantra growing up, or whether that's from society's pieces. You start to then take on that persona. Well, they said it, so it must be true. I'm not quite good enough, so it must be true.
Yeah.
And if you're not careful, you don't achieve. And so you like all of us, we will fail in life. And when you fail, you hang on to that failure and it becomes paralyzing so much in a sense that you're not then willing to take the next risk to achieve. And so, that is a long way of saying that I didn't get to this pinnacle by starting there. It took me an opportunity or many opportunities of strikeouts, we'll say, if I was to use my sports analogies, or a swing and a miss, or missing the goal, or not getting the job, or not getting the interview, and being able to really work past those failures and finding really great mentors and working on my own internal dialogue, my own internal strengths in order to get where I got, which was, a foot in the door, and
Mm-hmm.
then following the principles of success that will take me to the next level. That's a long answer. I'm sorry for
Oh,
that.
I love it. I love it. I love it. And you touch on something, because as I was preparing mentally for this interview, I asked myself, I think that I've been a very self-confidence person all my life, and I was wondering how I became self-confidence. And my own response was that life experience. If somebody tells you that you're good, or somebody tells you you're pretty, or somebody tells you that you do well in school, and or something like that, and that's basically how my self-confidence comes. But you just mentioned a great thing, that when you fail, or someone tells you you're not good enough, and you internalize it, that is how the self-confidence, or the lack of self-confidence, comes into play. So, yeah, that was a great answer. So basically what you're saying is that it started that your parents kind of drilled some, thing in you, and then I like what you said about, people putting you to the corners, or marginalizing you, and you maybe recognizing that, you're better than that, and you don't want to stay there, and you fight. And that's
Mhm.
good. And the crazy thing about it, it might be like a cliche, but it's also very true, that as immigrants, we fight. You know,
Absolutely.
yeah, we've come from lack, we've come from nothing, and we have this innate thing in us that we do want more, which is why our parents bring us to a new country, why everybody wants to come to the United States or Canada. They're coming to work on becoming more. So so that is great. So I know that your journey was, your athletic scholarship, and then your master's and your PhD. Um, how did you bridge that? How did you go from athletics to psychology?
Well, it's a great question. And so, let me preface it was that I went to school in Canada, and I didn't succeed. And
Okay.
when I look at one of the reasons why I didn't succeed, it was because I wasn't connected to a mentor. I didn't have
Mm,
somebody that I had latched onto who was guiding me along the way. Like many first generation students who are new to university, they're still learning how to navigate their way through the processes and the systems. And without somebody to show you the way, you're likely to flounder and fall through the cracks. And so I started over, and I went to Graceland University, small liberal arts school in Iowa, and I highly recommend it. And a
okay.
great university. And
Mhm.
what I did there was I just buckled down. I locked myself in my room. I did my sports. I did my schooling, and I achieved excellent grades. And when it was
Very
time, I was
nice.
going to go to medical school. And
Okay.
I was sitting in my senior year, and a professor made a conversation don't about people who are successful don't choose to follow the money or the fame. I was
Oh.
choosing medical school because I wanted everybody to know how smart I was, because I wanted to drive a fancy car, because I wanted to be wealthy.
Okay.
It wasn't because I
Yeah.
wanted to help people. I wanted to heal the world. I wanted to make a difference.
Wow.
And I was shallow. And what really hit me was choose what you volunteer to do, make that your career, and success will come. And it hit me like a
Mm.
rock between the eyes that I was always a soccer coach. I was a volunteer coach. I went and I played the soccer game, and I was an athletic scholarship, and I was the captain of my team, and I was an all conference, but I was average at best. Yes, I was the captain, but I wasn't any super all star. But I got an opportunity to be the volunteer assistant coach, and recognize this is where a lot of people sometimes won't do whatever it takes to get their foot in the door. There was no salary. I worked for free. I worked like a dog with a very good coach who gave me an opportunity, put my
Yeah.
foot in the door. A year later, he left, and I had an opportunity to be the head coach. And
Nice.
and I worked again like a dog. My salary was smaller than the student athletes on the team who were getting scholarship, but I didn't care. I wanted a
Wow.
chance to get my foot in the door. I was
Mm.
lucky enough to win a conference championship, but I wasn't content with being the best out of 10. I wanted to be the very best in the country. And so I read every book I could read. And then I realized that I wanted to learn the mental side of the game. And so that's why
Yeah.
I pursued a PhD in sports psychology.
Yeah.
In order to
Yeah.
be the best, you got to
Yeah.
engage in
It
learning.
is mental. It
Yeah,
is mental. Yeah. We can talk about all the top athletes, like LeBron James and,
mhm,
Peyton Manning and all those guys that are top of their game. It's not just physical ability, it is mental strength and understanding the mental part of it. So that's what you tapped into. Okay. All right. So that's great. I didn't know that your psychology degree was in sports, but I see the connection. All right. So beautiful. And I am assuming that as you got better, your self-confidence yourself keep
yeah.
tapping up. You keep tapping it up, right?
This is one
Okay.
of the things about confidence is the more you achieve, the more it grows.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
more you achieve, the bigger it gets. And then you'll get your opportunity, you'll get your promotion, and then you start all over and your confidence will wane and that process begins again.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. All right. So let's transition to our self-confidence topic. So the question that I have here is, why do you believe self-confidence, optimism, grit, and resilience are fundamental skills in achieving high performance goals?
Yeah. So let's make sure we're all on the same page about what the definition of self-confidence is,
Okay.
which is the genuine belief in your ability to accomplish the task at hand, right? The genuine belief to accomplish the task at hand. And so everybody needs to understand that you may have all the talent in the world. You may be the most beautiful person in the world, the smartest person in the world, the strongest person in the world. But if you don't have this genuine belief that you have that skill, you will never put your hand up to answer the question in the math class or sit on the board table and volunteer to do the presentation or choose to join the team. Because if you don't believe in yourself, you will not put yourself in front of anybody and risk failure. And so this genuine belief is the foundational cornerstone of success. We can all outwork and learn or do whatever we want to do given enough time. But if we're not willing and really willing to put ourselves out there, it doesn't matter how talented we are.
Right, right. Yeah. So thank you for explaining self-confidence. Um, but I understand, I'm going to ask you this follow-up question.
Yeah.
Um, I understand not having the confidence to do a job, or not having the confidence that you're going to win the race, or not having the confidence that you can, you're down 20 points in the fourth quarter and having the confidence that you can still win. Because I've seen that happen. And I'm thinking like, my husband loves football. So I watch a lot of football, and I myself are amazed that, there's seconds left in the game and people still think they can win. But what I don't understand is, and you mentioned it briefly a minute ago, women, because, a lot of podcast listeners are women. And women can be beautiful, have a great body, and don't have the self-confidence. They walk in a room and they don't project anything, don't project any energy. They want to be in the corner. And then you would have a woman that is not by standards attractive, but she walks in there and she feels that she's got it. I like the cover of your book. Yeah, you've got this. She feels that she's got it, and she walks around and she gets the guys because guys think that self-confidence is sexy. So can you comment on that?
Well, I'll never comment on a woman's appearance or look or anything like that. I want to keep my job, Verna. Let's there. But
Okay.
what I will say, and
Mm-hmm.
it's about anybody, whether it's a female or a male or an athlete or a young girl or a young man, it's the measuring stick that they're using to measure themselves against. And
Got
this
it.
is key, right? I might, if I'm measuring myself up to Denzel Washington, I may never feel like I'm good enough. Or I'm measuring it is not, if we are always, and it's human nature to always be in competition and in comparison, whether it's the Joneses next door, whether it's what you did last week, we are
Yeah.
always looking at how we compare and stack up. And
That's
so,
very true.
so
Yeah,
your
yeah, yeah.
message to the young woman who may not be attractive, or the gentleman who may not be as smart, or the person who doesn't think they have as much as the next person, you can't tell them, oh, yes, you are. They won't believe it. And so this
Yeah,
is why you have to start with this genuine
that's
belief.
true. That's true.
When we go, what happens with these folks usually is this, we'll call it maladaptive perfectionism. When they have an unrealistic understanding of what perfectionism is or excellence is, and they
Okay.
chase that almost impossible thing, and they're, you know, those people, they're never content, they're
They're never
never
gonna get it
happy,
right. Yeah,
right?
yeah,
And
yeah.
so you've got to try and reframe those folks to really understand what excellence is. Excellence isn't 100. If I'm looking at soccer players and I say excellence isn't 100% passing, excellence is maybe 50% passing or
Yeah,
40%.
yeah.
Recognizing that in errors, there must be some mistakes. But you know, and this
Right.
is my pet peeve with the influence of social media and
Hmm.
capturing every live event,
Yeah.
nobody looks ruffled anymore. If it was a visual identity that you're looking at, everybody is always made up, perfectly put together, using the right filter. No, I don't want, like, looking at the camera, see all my neck wrinkles.
Right, 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 right. Yes. They're starting to, I'm seeing a lot of stars coming on with no makeup though. They're starting to move from that. But yes, you're
There's hope for me, then. There's hope for me.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. So so I can understand genuine belief in and how you measure yourself against to yeah, I like the Denzel Washington part. You do look like him a little bit, Is that why you brought
Thank
him up?
you. Thank you very much. I'll take it. My
You
wife
do.
listening. I hope my business partner Sonny's listening. Like, listen, I hope my friends at school are listening. Who's all listening, right?
You do.
How
But
how did you hear that?
yes, yes, you do. So I can understand, measuring yourself up against, someone else. Um, but what about the optimism and the gift of resilience? And high performance goals. So let's talk about optimism. I mean, self confidence as taking you to the next level. Your optimism and your resilience because you believe that you can make it. You're confident that you'd make it. How does
Yeah.
that work?
So, you're confident you can make it, but you have setbacks. You fail, you flunder. So this is now the word of grit, right?
Mm.
Grit is the genuine belief in your ability to accomplish the task despite setbacks. So a lot of people are like, well, I'm confident, I got it. And then they go out and they try something and they flounder or they miss it. Well, I guess I'm not confident. No, you got to be gritty. And the only way to develop grit in order to achieve your goals is to experience failure. There is no other way to grow grit and resilience than to sit. And listen, this is the key for your listeners out there, to sit and be comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Mm.
And here's what we and we don't. What happens is we fail, we're embarrassed, so we don't ever want to try again. We're afraid of somebody saying no to us, so we don't take the risk out there. So many people out there won't ever achieve because they are so caught up with the embarrassment of failure. I'm like, that doesn't achieve your goal. So you have to get through the failure in order to achieve your goal, because every little failure takes you one step closer. There's a movie, I don't know if you remember, Chitty Chitty Bang Bang with Dick Van Dyke. Do you remember that movie?
No, no, no,
Oh,
no.
it's a Disney movie. You're not old enough.
Okay, all right.
So I think it's Dick Van Dyke, and it's about a flying car. Long story short, they get caught and they're put in this dungeon, and there's some old guys there that have a replica flying car, and these guys have the flying car. And like, how did they've been in there? And they got these long beards, and they're old men. It's like, oh my God, how long have you been in here? We've been in here for 30 years, 50 years trying to get this car to fly. We keep failing. Well, are we ready to give up? And they're like, no, every time we fail, we're one step closer to achieving it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
That is what I took from that lesson.
yeah. Well, actually, I don't know about that story, but I do know that The one that people usually talk about is Albert Einstein, how he failed like 10,000 times before he created, the light bulb. So,
That's Edison.
right. What was that? Edison,
Thomas
sorry,
Edison.
right, yes, Edison, right. So, so failure, right, because every time you fail, you know not what to do. And yeah, failure is the way to success. So that's awesome.
If I
So,
could tell you how many times I've got cut from a soccer team or did not get a soccer job, there is no way I should be here. So especially for all your listeners out there who are experiencing failure, embrace it.
Yeah, I understand now that you're also coaching a Guyanese girls soccer team. Yes, your aunt told me that this morning. So, so you like that soccer, huh?
If you've got any Guyanese women out there that are listening,
Yeah.
contact me on Twitter. We need you. We are looking to rebuild that national program for the next World Cup. So make sure you.
Nice. What's your
That's
handle?
My shameless plug.
That's all right. What's your handle?
Dr. Ivan Joseph on Twitter.
Okay, simple.
Or on Instagram, either one. Dr. Ivan Joseph on Instagram. Yep.
Okay. All right. Yes. I also I belong to a Guyanese Facebook group, so I'll definitely plug that. I'll definitely plug you for that on there. Excellent. All right. So I love what you said about sit and be comfortable with being uncomfortable. And that's actually my mantra. I remember that, when I gave my life to Christ, I was reading a book about being uncomfortable. And it said that you never grow when you're comfortable. You have to become uncomfortable. And I remember sitting in that church one morning and I said to myself, nobody wants to walk down that, get up and walk down. Everybody's always uncomfortable with that. And I forced myself to do that. And that was my first, action about allowing yourself to be uncomfortable to do something. And I've done it several different times because when you're the fat cat with cream, you're never going to get anywhere. You definitely have to be uncomfortable.
Amen.
So that's one of the things that someone can do. What are some other simple habits that you want to share that can help our listeners grow their self-confidence and their resilience, or grit, as you call it?
Well, I think, in my book, I always talk about a few concrete examples. I think one of the first things you have to recognize is that your thoughts influence your beliefs, which influence your actions. And it's this whole cyclical self-fulfilling prophecy. And what you tell yourself, you become. So you got to stop the negative talk. And you know what that is, that you put the dress on, oh my God, I this dress, I look terrible in this, or you go to the job, I'm never going to get this, I'm not as smart as those folks, I can't do this, I'm no good. We keep selling these things to ourselves and they beat us up. So you got to stop the negative talk. Yeah. Do whatever that is. I always talk about physical exercises. I call them centering exercises to stop the negative talk and just replace it with some positive statements. What you'll hear me say is about affirmations. So that's one thing, one step, stop the negative thought, whatever it is. Number two, replace it with a positive statement or an affirmation. I am the captain of my ship and the master of my fate. Nobody outworks me and I can learn anything. We know that people who use 3 affirmations a day can increase their productivity, can solve complex problems way faster. And here's the one for all you business people out here, that if you're entrepreneurs, leads to a 36 to 37% increase in revenue. Folks that engage in 3 affirmations a day. That's a Lubomowski study from Harvard, Sonia Lubomowski. I think it's about a 2006 study, so it's getting old now, but yeah. And so I'm a big believer in the positive self-talk.
Yeah. I fluctuate back and forth about affirmations, but I've heard that. In the coaching world, that you speak it until you believe it. You know what I mean? Because a lot of times you're going to say these affirmations and you're almost saying that you're lying. You know what I mean? But sooner or later, if you keep on speaking it and you start to believe it, or something happens, whether you believe it or not, something happens, and that is great. Great advice.
We call it in the sport, we call it the as if principle. Act as if. right?
Ah,
Think
okay.
as if.
Okay. All right. So that's awesome. All right. The other question I have here is, um, how could we use self-confidence to develop a winner's mindset?
Oh, it's a great question because I think a winner's mindset and self-confidence go hand in hand. And
Okay.
so I will say this, and I'll flip your question around. Self-confidence helps you build a winner's mindset.
Okay.
Okay. And so how do you do that? Write a letter to yourself about all the things you're great at. There's going to be times when you feel like you can't do it and you need to change that. Take that letter and write it to yourself. Whatever that letter says, dear Ivan Joseph, congratulations on choosing the right woman to marry. You decided to launch a successful business with your partner. Congratulations on doing a great job. You raised 3 healthy kids. You wanted to pursue a PhD before you were, whatever it is, write that letter to yourself, because when there's times when there's people telling you can't do it, when you feel like you can't do it, that winner's mindset will be turned on. The other way to build that winner's mindset, because it's one thing to have the winner's mindset when you feel like, okay, I got it, I'm going to do this. And then you got your auntie telling you can't do it. You got your Uncle Bob over here telling you, you got the lady from the hairdressing store, you got the postman, you got the ex-husband. Yeah,
Yeah,
those
yeah,
are the
yeah,
people,
yeah,
man. You do not be in their company. I always use this line, get away from the people who will tear you down.
yeah, yeah,
You don't want to be in that environment because they will take away your winner's mindset. It's like your
yeah,
armor eventually, no matter how strong it is, if they keep coming at you, you will be
yeah,
broken. And
yeah.
so instead, be careful and be intentional on the company you choose.
Okay. So
Right?
I like that. So what you're saying is that you find all the good things that you've done or the good things you plan to do. Which one? Or both?
I like to remind myself of the good things I've done. So when
You've
I'm
done.
building
Okay.
confidence, it's like I'm bringing out my past achievements, and it's not all the work. You
Yeah,
reckon,
yeah,
I'm a
yeah,
great dad,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
You know
yeah.
what? I love my gardening. I'm excellent at gardening.
Okay.
I,
Yeah.
I look great in yellow, whatever it is, whatever it is.
Yes, 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 yes. That is, I'm laughing, but that is, I know personally that that will work because how did we start off our conversation talking about self-confidence comes from past experience, right? And if you can, put together all the things that, people have said to you, even if you were this type of person that you can't look in the mirror and see good things about yourself, right? Because there's some people like that. But,
Yeah,
you can remember the things that people tell you, your family, your friends, even ex-boyfriends or husbands might say something might say something to you that you believe, and you put those together, and that's definitely a way to build your self-confidence. And like I said, that's how I basically built mine.
yeah,
I didn't go out and say I'm good at this, I'm good at that, but people telling me certain things, and I believe it. But and then there's a lot of people that can't take compliments.
hmm,
Whenever somebody tells them something good, they think it's flattery, or maybe they want something or whatever. But yeah, you receive. They can't receive. So definitely receive it, write it down, write a letter to yourself. And I'm assuming that when you feel a lack of self-confidence, you go and read the letter. Is that the
that is
trick?
when you're feeling down, when you're feeling like you can't do it, you
Mm-hmm.
read the letter, right?
Yeah.
It'll help buoy your spirits, and it's equally important is like if where there's one piece about getting away from the people who will tear you down. Sometimes it's hard because you're in your family. The other piece that you got to think about is who do you give your power away to? Meaning, who do you
Yeah.
choose to listen to?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Why
That's
are
a
you,
big one. Yep.
yeah, why are
Yep.
you listening to the guy next door who you don't know from a hole in the ground, but
Right.
you're letting him really impact your feelings about yourself?
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
just really choose that circle.
Yeah. I remember as you were talking, something sprang into my mind. When I was in Toronto, I owned a limousine company, and I was very proud of myself that I can drive stretch limousines. And my my clients would always say, "Oh, you're a good driver," because they're back there drinking and I'm driving and nobody's spilling, nobody's sliding. And I always felt myself as a good driver, right? And then I got married to one of my ex-husbands and he would try to bash me in my driveway. And I said to him, "Hey, I'm a good driver." So you don't let somebody take things away from you that you know what I mean? So that's a great example, don't give away your power. I know I'm a good driver. It's been proven.
We forget about these things.
Yeah. So that's good. All right. So tell us about your book. You've got this. I know that your TED Talk has 19 million views right now, which is really amazing. That must make you feel really good, and your self-confidence got to be up here with that. So I'm going to ask a two-part question. Why do you think that talk resonated with so many people? And did you put some of that content in your book? And what can someone learn from after reading your book on You Got This, Mastering the Skills of Self-Confidence?
So one of the things is, let me go back to the first piece, right?
Right.
For me, the most important thing about that TED Talk, the reason I did it was because I struggled with confidence. I sat on the bench of a soccer team. I got kicked out of university. You grow up as a black man in a white man's world. You're always not feeling like you're quite up to it. Right. And one day when my wife came to me, as she was my girlfriend at the time, and she realized after I'd been sitting on the bench, she saw me practice and she said I was terrible. And she had already seen me play a really good game. And she said to me, "What happened to your game? You let that man define your sense of self-worth. Didn't you tell me that he didn't play high-level soccer, that you've been coached by some of the best, that you think, and a whole bunch of this stuff." And I realized, to the point we spoke earlier about, I gave my power away. And that affected my performance because I didn't believe I was any good anymore. And I stopped that very day and changed my mindset. And I went on to start to play like I was meant to play.
Nice.
I became the captain of that team in the all conference. And it wasn't, that man didn't belittle me. I belittled myself.
You believed it.
Yeah.
Right.
And so, there's always going to be people who don't believe in us. It's my job to change that person's mindset, not to fulfill their belief prophecy.
Yeah.
And so what I recognize, and the reason that talk resonates with everybody, is that we all have feelings of self-doubt. I'm not tall enough. I'm not smart enough. I'm not rich enough. I'm not skinny enough. I don't look good here. My teeth aren't this. You get the new job and you're great, but then you get the promotion. I don't know if I can do it. I don't think I can do it. I'm a woman. Nobody believes in me. I'm black. No, whatever it is, we all have those feelings, and that's self-doubt can be crippling.
Yeah.
And it's not because you're a woman you have it more, or a man you have it more. It's because we want to be very good and excellent at what we do, and we care so much. And so that video resonated with lots of folks for that reason. I get lots of emails and Twitter and LinkedIn messages saying thank you. What I did with the book was I shared some of that TED Talk, and I went even further to create exercises and practical pieces and workshops in that book as a self-help guide about how to go about building self-confidence, talking about higher expectations, talking about skill and mastery. And I think we've got a coupon code. There'll be a coupon code. I think Sunny shared it with you folks, right?
Yeah. Sunny sent it to me. I'm going to put it on the link, but you can also talk about it. Right. Mm-hmm.
So, if you go to my website, Dr. Ivan Joseph, and we will make sure that we'll give you a discount on the book, and we'll send it and ship it to you. Right. The coupon code is lifting my mind right now, so don't tell Sunny I said that, because I'm probably supposed to do that. But yeah, if you go on the website, Dr. Ivan Joseph, sign up for the book or sign up for a website. I'll give you some course materials. We'll give you those. I'm not, I'm not making any money on that. I'm giving it away because I think it's a great opportunity for people who want to grow and learn how to develop their own confidence.
Yeah, so that's good. Right. Yeah. So we will have definitely a transcript of my conversation with Dr. Ivan, and I would have the code. I don't remember what it is myself, but we have a. I'm trying to think if it's transformed, but anyway, we'll have the code, and I think it's what, 15% or 20% off.
I just lost you. Did you go mute?
I'm seeing you. Can you hear me?
Can you hear me, Myrna?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Now I can, yes.
Okay, all right. So what I was saying is that I think the coupon code is it 15 or 20% off?
I'm going to say 20%.
20%. All right, so 20% off the book, right? Okay, so so if you go to drivanjoseph.com, and you'll get 20% off the book. Just head over to blog.myhelps.us, and there'll be a link to the website as well as the coupon code, which we don't have right now. So tell us some other ways about how the audience can learn about you, where they can find you online. I know you mentioned, I know you're on LinkedIn, because that's how I connected with you. And you talked about your Twitter. So yeah, so go ahead and promote yourself. Yeah.
You know, we've got a website there. We've got Instagram, Dr. Ivan Joseph. We've got the Twitter handle, again, Dr. Ivan Joseph. I think what will be really interesting is we've got a course that will be coming out in January. As a former professor, you know, education is in my wheelhouse. And so we're developing an online course. And so stay tuned for that. That will come in January. But there's a whole bunch of free downloadable material that's coming up. I'm working on a new book right now that's called The Truth About Lying.
Oh, wow.
It's a rather nefarious title, isn't it?
I guess the psychology is coming out there. Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
right.
We'll develop the science about really when, how does the placebo effect work? What really happens? What about the imposter syndrome and all these things?
Wow.
How you know, lying, how using the mental side of psychology, how it changes and your physical chemistry, your belief, and allowing one to achieve excellence. So stay tuned.
Is that from the person that's lying, or the person that's believing the lie?
The person that's believing in the lie, because sometimes it's you lying, right? So it's the person that's, you know, so if somebody lied to me, the placebo effect. So what's just happened? If I just put something into your body, I gave you a sugar pill, and all of a sudden, those people with the sugar pill have really reduced and quicker rates of getting healthy. What just happened there? We know with optimism that people who felt happier and were giving gratitude journals recovered from surgery way quicker.
It's true.
What happened?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
This interesting fact that there was I think it was in Italy, and I don't quote me on this, but you know, there's a typical average number of heart attacks in Italy every single day of the year they can do. The year Italy won the World Cup way back in the day, the heart rates dropped by 30 or 50%, whatever that magic number is, because of the excitement and the energy and the happiness that day. What happened there? There's a whole bunch of studies like that talk about the role optimism, gratitude will play in one's health and recovery. And so this is what this book will study in terms of how we interpret these types of messages.
Yeah, that's great. I love it. So you go from the performance coach to the psychologist. I like that. Okay, so and when is that coming out?
Myrna, I hope that's your. I'm plugged into a hard line, so I saw that you froze there. So my apologies.
Okay, all right. So what I was saying is, so you went from being a performance coach to the psychology part of it.
Yes.
Great. Okay. So that's great. Okay. Awesome. Okay. Well, listen, I totally enjoyed our conversation. I love the 3 affirmations a day, and how it can, increase productivity for about, 36% as far as revenue. I liked your statement on, self-confidence helps you build a winner's mindset. I love, everything of our conversation. I think that we got some good content, and definitely, love your book as far as workshops, because sometimes, if you have been in the mold of not believing in yourself for a long time, a lot of times you are going to need to work on it to get through that. So I'm glad that you're giving workshops and some practical examples. And I love the fact that you talked about your wife. Sometimes it's people that are close to us that makes the biggest impact. That your wife said to you, hey, you allowed someone to get into your head and you played like crap. That's a good thing, that that people can step in and give you that confidence injection, because that's basically what she did by saying you're better than that. You know what I mean? So yeah, so that was good. All right, so we're almost come to the end of our the interview. Is there anything else that you wanted to share with your book on You Got This, Mastering the Skill of Self-Confidence?
I found out, Sunny texted me, my partner texted me the coupon code. It is your first name, Myrna, M-Y-R-N-A.
That's what I thought, right? I wasn't
Right?
sure if it was Transform or what it was. It's Myrna. Okay.
Yeah. No,
right.
I think the last thing is like, okay. What I always tell my audience is when I do these corporate speeches, because I want to remind them is believe in yourself and the world will too. And I think that is the key. Right? If you want to achieve, believe in yourself and the world will too. That's it.
Yeah. Believe in yourself and the world will too. It's true. One of the statements that I believe that as women, you want to walk into the room, you can put on that self-confidence cloak. Put it on like a dress. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah, you can put it on, believe in yourself, project that, I'm going to use your word in your book, that I got this, you got this. You know what I mean? That was an excellent title to your book, because you got it. You got to believe that you got it. You know what I mean? Everything that you've done so far in life has prepared you for this moment. And we all get the experiences that we need in order for us to excel. Your experiences as a Guyanese immigrant, actually is what helped you to achieve your success, because that was the foundation, from your parenting and from your upbringing. So all of your experiences, and you got it. Okay. Yes.
Thanks for having me, Myrna. I really appreciate it.
Right. You're welcome. All right. So I do have a contest that I am introducing today, and it's from one of our sponsors, a $25 gift card from hbnaturals.com. This gift card, $25 gift card, allows you to purchase any of the 80 natural organic products, including coffee, skincare, tea, CBD oil, superfoods, essential oils, pet products, and more. And all you need to do to enter this contest is to subscribe to either the Transform Your Mind iTunes podcast or the Transform Your Mind YouTube channel. We are now recording on YouTube, so you can now watch this interview with Dr. Ivan Joseph on YouTube. See his face that looks like Denzel. You can listen on any of the podcast players. And of course, you can listen on the radio. So we thank you all. I definitely, so what you do is you subscribe, then you send me an email to info@myhelps.us with your contact information, and one of you will win this $25 gift card. So let me repeat: subscribed, either iTunes or Transform Your Mind podcast channel. Send me an email to info@myhelps.us with your contact information, and I will forward you this $25 gift card that you can actually put towards a product, or they do have several products that's under $25 or $25 that you can get a free product, and that includes free shipping as well. I definitely want to thank my almost family member, Dr. Ivan Joseph,
My pleasure.
for, for imparting his wisdom on self-confidence. As I mentioned before, you can head over to blog.myhelps.us for a full transcript of our conversation and for a coupon to purchase his book. It's a 20% off coupon, and it's with the name Myrna, which is spelled Myrna. And just to repeat, Dr. Ivan's book is called You Got This, Mastering the Skill of Self-Confidence. I also want to thank our sponsors for this episode. Remember to support the advertisers who support the show. And you would also find links to the sponsors' websites on blog.myhelps.us. So as we wrap up, I always like to get my audience the last word. So anything else, that any kind of inspirational message that you want to leave with our listeners as we go?
Just remember your mantra, folks. You are the captain of your ship and the master of your fate. And so whenever you're feeling overwhelmed, it's always, you got this.
Love it, love it, love it. Yes, you definitely got this. All right. Well, thanks again for tuning in to the Transform Your Mind to Transform Your Life radio show and podcast. And we will see you next week. So namaste. Namaste. All right.
Take care, Maria.
Okay. Thanks.